Thank you very much. My first guest tonight is a gentleman that I have the highest admiration in the world for because he's doing something that is really unusual in the jazz world, and that is playing solo concerts. But not just that fact alone distinguishes him from a lot of other artists. The fact that he's doing it on solo guitar, which is even more difficult. He's a genius within his own rights. Would you welcome on guitar the talented Joe Pass? Welcome back, Joe. It's great to have you back on the show. You know, we haven't done this since, I think, a couple of years when we did a show with John Williams.
That's right, yeah.
And you were discussing then, at that time, the thing about playing, both of you were discussing playing jazz guitar against classical guitar. What I want to talk to you tonight about is something that you've been doing now for quite a while, as we all know in here, and that is the unaccompanied concerts, which I think is very interesting because it demands a certain approach, doesn't it, on guitar?
Yeah, it demands, well, a variety of approaches. It demands establishing a rhythmic pattern, right? You know that, and harmonies, and single note improvising. So you have to sort of put this all together and
make
it's
it work.
actually make it work, and it's under an illusion that it's all happening at the same time.
That's right. Well, you know, what people don't realize, and I'm sure, you know, I say this meaning that it's a total innocence on their part, is they don't realize what a 2-hour concert really means. In essence, you know, you walk out on some of these stages that become extra large, don't they?
Yeah.
When you're one alone, they start looking like the Sahara Desert.
I can tell you a story. I recently played a concert and had my watch on the amplifier. I played 3 tunes and looked at the watch, and only 6 minutes went by. And I thought to myself, God, I have another 65 minutes or so.
The other thing I want to talk to you about was the different requirements as you move through different types of guitar playing. Solo guitar is one. Then, of course, there's the aspect of playing in a group, which we've done many years.
Yeah.
And the thing about, for instance, phrasing within a group, phrasing, being able to phrase with each member of the group as one, which is very difficult, right?
Yeah, also the fact that certain people phrase very similarly, so if you put those kind of people together, you get a good phrasing, or maybe in other instances it takes a lot of rehearsal or tightness in order to have everything sound like, have a unison line sound like one person instead of 3 or 5. Or
That's right. We have a good instance of this, which we're going to show you now, because recently at Festival Hall, there was a concert with the Count Basie Orchestra, and I think we both agree, as most of you probably will, that orchestra breathes as one. And I think you'll have a good instance of hearing this on their rendition of April in Paris. Basie.
That's the band that swings.
Well, you know, that's the band that will, if you check back in history, it's always sounded basically, that's a bad pun, that way.
Yeah, it's
You
had
know,
the same sound and
The
feel.
same sound, and no matter, the amazing thing about that orchestra is whoever seemed to come into the orchestra immediately took on the complexion and the attitudes of the orchestra itself.
That's true, yeah.
Because they have that delayed phrasing, you know, the relaxed feel. It's incredible. The thing that interested me also, I had the opportunity during the time that the band was appearing at Festival Hall of having a head-to-head talk with Bill Basie over two pianos. And I would like to play that for you now so that you can hear the result of the interview. You know, Bill and I have spent many, many evenings in many, many concert halls in many, many places of this world, cities of this world, sitting in dressing rooms, talking, I guess as any two pianists would about some of the pitfalls of doing what we do for a living with these two musical giants that we call pianos. And one of the points that I wanted to talk to Bill about tonight was his feelings about the piano, his instrument. It's been his instrument all his life. Here we are sitting playing the two giant Busendorfers, Bill. What were some of the pianos like that you had to play during the early Kansas City days? You mean they weren't Busendorfers?
Well, I tell you, there were some brutal uprights.
What's a brutal upright?
And some of them were real nice, too, you know.
Oh, yeah, some of the uprights are great.
Believe me.
You could get a good sound.
And some of them had pedals on them that had little things on them that around it. They had some different little string sounds to them, you know, that added a little jazz to them. And there were some nice ones, really, actually. And when they built this monster here, they built it right there. They made it for you. Nobody but you, especially that other thing they got down there on that tripped me on one day.
Well, yeah, I was going to mention that. Bill and I played a concert somewhere in Germany. And, of course, the earlier models of this particular piano were like the one I'm using at the moment. Bill doesn't have it on his. Mine is an earlier model because it has a flap on it that opens because there are extra keys. And at that time, they used to leave the keys, the extra keys, in their normal white and black configuration. Now, of course, on Bill's piano, the one like the one he's using today, they paint those black. Pardon?
All sold keys you had over there.
All sold keys. Anyway, one night I preceded him on a concert, and I went out and was fairgrounding a little bit, and I was playing double octave things. And these keys actually by themselves, they don't really sound that good. I'm telling you now. But in tandem with octaves, then it gives it a lot more body.
You just had to play that, you know.
So I went out and I was playing this with the trio, and inadvertently forgot and left the flap open. And then Bill came on with the band, and he elected to play one of the stride things. And I was standing back there, and I heard misses, which he never does. I've never known him to miss that, and it was sounding like you. And I went out, and I looked at Bill, and he had made the mistake of looking down at the keyboard. I had left the flap open, and of course, with the extra notes, it threw his perspective.
I was looking for him after.
But you know, actually, what do you like in the way of a piano, Bill? What type of piano do you like to? What do you like in the way of a feel?
Well, I don't know, just a good feel. I mean, this is a beautiful piano that I'm sitting in front of now. Really.
Does it affect you? How does it affect your playing? If you, for instance, you're a very speculative player. You are thoughtful. You're very sparse. We all know this because this is the one thing you brought to the jazz world. And if you run into a piano that is very light, let's say, does it have any particular reaction on you?
Well, I don't know, Oscar. I don't know how to answer that question really, but it does have a wonderful feeling for me because I do like a light piano.
You like a light piano. This is what I meant. You prefer the light action compared to the
most definitely
to the heavyweight action.
Believe me.
I would like to do to illustrate Bill's touch. I'd like to do a tune that I have to admit this that I didn't realize was his composition until about 2 years ago, when we did a performance together. Why don't we do a couple of choruses of Blue and Sentimental?
Yeah, that would be nice. Help my ass cap anyway. wish that tune was as pretty as that introduction you made on there, really. Oh, boy.
I was trying to think of what the tune was. That's one of my longer introductions.
Well, you see, that's one of them strikes again. There you go.
I wanted to ask you a question, Basie, has been burning in my mind for quite a while. Mm-hmm. And I have heard a lot of conjecture about this from various people. You know, the discussion has come up over and over again. Mm-hmm. And I would like to hear it from you directly.
Right.
Probably the two most famous orchestras of all time, if I have to be chauvinistic about it, I would have to say they would be your orchestra and Duke's orchestra. All right. What would you say was the difference? What would your impressions of the difference between the two bands be?
Class. The master, he had it. That was the man. That was the man.
The bands,
he was the boss.
You did play together at one point.
Yes, we did.
Really?
I was in the hall.
You.
It's beautiful. The greatest.
Well, I know how he loved
It was
your...
a pleasure and an honor to be in the same hall with the Duke. What more can I say? Don't ask me anymore about it.
All right, it won't. The other thing I want to ask you about is another great that we used to talk about. And we were talking about musical intimidation, right? And I was talking about how my idol, and I'm sure the gentleman that you revere, Art Tatum, used to literally intimidate pianists. And it's one thing for people to understand what the word means insofar as lifestyle, but insofar as a musical style, I can remember, as you, I'm sure you vividly remember, what pianists used to feel like when he used to walk in the room that they were playing in. What did you get out of Tatum? When did you first meet Art Tatum, first of all?
Oh, I met Art many, many years ago, and we were traveling through Toledo, and I was with Benny Moten, you know, and I made the mistake. We stopped over in Toledo for a stopover, you know, and I made the mistake of said there was a piano there in this little room, you know, and I don't know, I just I don't know what made me sit down at this piano and play. And in those days, I thought I could stride a little bit, you know, and somebody walked over and they said, "It's just Art Tatum being here, man," and I really hadn't heard of him too much, you know. So something told me to get up from that piano. I listened to that, something told me. And I got up. And Art walked in there, and he must have been there. I don't know what brought him in there, but somebody must have told him as a kid in there trying to play some piano or something like that. So he walked in there and just played a half a chorus or something. And that was all. That's how I met Art, really.
Really?
And, but then I heard him several times later on at a lot of different meetings when everything was quiet when he walked in and sat down. That's the way it's always been.
How about the piano parties? You mentioned once about...
Except when you came in, he really admired you an awful lot. Art. And I remember the time when you went looking for him.
No, I didn't.
Knocked on his door.
I was always suicidal.
No, it wasn't like that. No, he respected you an awful lot.
Oh, I love that. We were very close friends. But you know, you told us some time ago about a very funny scene where he walked up behind you when you were having in the middle.
Oh yeah, we were at this little club in Los Angeles, and everybody was there that night. Buddy Rich was sitting in for Joe Jones, who had just been inducted in the Army, and Tommy Dorsey was there, and he was playing, and who was it? Artie Shaw, I believe. A couple of other guys were playing, and the band was just swinging. And somebody touched me on the shoulder, and then looked back and was on, and he said, "Hey," I said, "what key you playing in?" I B flat, and you ain't playing, too. He said, what's wrong? I said, you're not playing this piano now. The next set. I've never been on that one, boy. Because when he sits down, everything is destroyed.
Yeah.
And nothing else happens
It's true.
after that.
Well, this is what I meant about the intimidation, because when Art Tatum used to play, my feeling about it was that whether it was certainly a pianist that thought they wanted to follow him, they would change their mind. And if it was a horn of some sort, there was always a scuffle as to who was going to play the next solo following the piano solo. They'd be all pushing each other saying, well, you got it. And he said, no, no, you've got it. You know, because he played so much. And he had a trick he used to do. If a soloist was playing, they're playing something about this tempo, he would lay one of these on him like, and of course, right?
That's just what you've been doing to me all the time.
Not over there. But that was one. But I don't think. I think that Art actually did that because he was like kind of a prankster. You know, he loved doing that. He was very much in love with his instrument. We all know that.
Yeah, I don't think he could stand any spaces.
No.
He couldn't stand no space.
Now he filled up all the boxes.
That's right. Yeah.
But the thing that I admired about him was I remember the intimidation that I suffered when I first met him. And I'm not ashamed to say it. I'm, as a matter of fact, very honored to say it because he meant a lot to me and still does. And I used to come apart whenever he'd come in, just be destroyed. I'd be playing something and go into that bag, anything. And he took me aside one night and he said, if you have to hate me, if that's what's going to make you get over this, you just have to hate me. You can't just hate somebody, just voluntarily.
I can.
Yeah. You can? I don't believe that.
But pretty, but beautiful.
But I thought you cared all these years. And really, it wasn't a case of really hating him. I had to ignore him as best I could. If you can ever ignore death, I had to ignore, and one night he had a way of talking to pianists through the instrument. And one night he came into where I was playing, and I had gotten over this nemesis of, not being able to play. And we went to an after-hour joint afterwards, and he rolled over with us. He said, boy, you sure played good. Sound good. You've been getting it together, right? And usually in the after-hour places, the great instigations that used to go on, they'd see two piano players together and say Art, they'd say, well, why don't you play something? And Art, you play something. He went straight to the piano, and he just took it apart, literally. Just wasted everything on the piano.
You'd play something like what?
Pardon?
What will he play something like about 8 bars of what? Something like what?
Oh, I know. I can't really do it because I'm
just a little bit, about 8 bars.
I can't do it, really.
You do it.
I have never imitated it.
You just play 8 bars. Just play 8 bars. Just 8 bars? Just play some 8 bars.
And he went through about 10 minutes of something and just wasted it all. And he came back over and he sat down beside me and he said, when I get through, you can have it. And he was an ego. He was a very proud man. He should have been. And I think that, I don't think there is a pianist today, if they really want to be honest, of that era that wasn't influenced by him. Do you agree?
I'm with you.
I think so. I think
Absolutely.
that Art Tatum was, along with Charlie Parker, who had the same kind of influence on saxophone players, or Lester Young, or certainly Coleman Hawkins. Why don't we do something that relates more to a big band, since obviously this is...
Talking about Art Tatum, and we got to start playing this.
Now we're going to start... Yeah, we're going to do
It's all right with you.
Let's do one of the big band tunes, Jumping in the Woodside.
Oh, God.
You got it.
I know it. It's right in here, too.
Thank you. We'd like to thank the great Count Basie for visiting with us, and also Joe Pass. And to conclude the evening, Joe is going to help us make a quartet out of the group and join us to do Just Friends.
Stay tuned to BBC4. More Oscar Peterson in an omnibus special next.